Hello again, my name is Shanae Jones, and this is KNKY, which stands for Know the New Kinky You. I am your resident certified sex coach, and we are here to talk about anatomy. So I've already posted a video on the vulva, and I was very clear that we're talking about pussy. And excuse me if there are any technical video issues, but I see a little couple glitches, so hopefully that doesn't persist. But with that being said, we talked about the female body, and now we're about to talk about the male body, and we're talking about the penis, right? So the penis, it's funny because I live in DC, and they talk about the monument, and because the monument is this flaccid, very stiff, very hard, very erect statue, monument, it's a representation of the male penis. And so I have a graphic. I did a graphic before. I'm trying to give you guys some visual aids. But there are a lot of men that are concerned about the size of their penis. And, it's just like anything else with our bodies. We're born with what we're born with. Now, in our day and age and our sexual revolution, we recognize that there are times where people are born into bodies that they aren't comfortable with. And luckily, there is modern technology to be able to help us with those situations. But when it comes to changing the size of your penis, it's not as easy as you might think. Getting breast implants, we can do that all day long. But there is not the same ease when it comes to changing the size of your penis. So there are some men that think that they're too big, right? And that's a problem to have. But even with that situation, there are things that you can do. There are maneuvers that can help you if you feel like you're more well endowed than is comfortable for your partner. Most guys, though, want to be bigger. And I'm not a man, so I can't speak to how that feels internally. But what I can do is say that the male reproductive system is made up of a lot of different things. And there are a lot of different things to consider. And size and skill and comfort level are not the same thing. They're not mutual. You can have a size that is smaller, but be skillful enough to use it in a way where it doesn't matter. So let's talk about the male reproductive system. We have a penis. So here we have I'm doing this side. We have a flaccid penis where it's soft, and we have an erect penis, right? So we have our scrotum, which is the ball sack, as some people refer to it. We also have what's inside of the ball sack, which are our testicles, and those are typically two small round organs found inside of the scrotum. It is responsible for sperm production. It produces a hormone called testosterone. And testosterone is important to the development of men because it helps to support muscle development, deepening of the voice, as well as body hair growth. It's even, we're not going to talk about it too much tonight, but low testosterone levels is what can impact a male's sexual prowess, right? So testosterone is very important. Then you have the epididymis, which is a long tube near each testicle that moves sperm from the testicles to the vas deferens. We have the vas deferens. And the vas deferens is the tube where sperm is stored. It carries the sperm out of the scrotal sac and it's located between the epididymis and the urethra. We also have seminal vessels, and it's a sac-like gland that lies behind the bladder, and it releases a fluid that's part of the semen. We have our prostate gland, and we're going to talk about that a lot more in our next session. But the prostate gland is about the size of a walnut, and it surrounds the neck of the bladder and the urethra, and the prostate gland secretes a slightly alkaline fluid that forms part of the seminal fluid that carries sperm. We have our urethra. Our urethra, this is what allows urine and semen to flow outside of the body. So using and this is not 100% to all of the terms that I'm talking about, but I was really trying to show you that the reason why, it's really a blood flow issue where you're soft because there's no blood flowing to your penis, and then when you get hard, all the blood flow goes there. Same thing with the clitoris, by the way. The clitoris actually gets hard. It's something that when women are aroused, blood flows to the clitoris and it gets hard, and that's what helps us get stimulated, right? So your penis, going back to my picture, is that shaft, and it's made up of two parts. It's the shaft, the actually long part, and then your glands. And so your glands are the top part of your head, right? And then you have the shaft, which is the body of your penis. Now, all boys are born with foreskin, and in most cultures, even in the United States, the foreskin is often circumcised, and it's not a necessary procedure. It's not. It can be considered genital mutilation, just like what we talked about with the females. But what has been found is that, it makes the penis easier to clean, because the extra skin in the folds, if you don't manage it right, if you don't clean it right, you can have infections. It can be damaging to your health. But again, not medically necessary, but if you are uncircumcised, there are extra steps that you have to take to make sure that your penis stays clean. And although men are less prone to urinary tract infections, what we've seen is that urinary tract infections are more common in circumcised men. So let's talk about size. The average penis, I'm not talking about you specifically, but the average penis, flaccid, is 3.5 inches. The erect penis is about 5 inches. Women typically can accommodate 5 to 8 inches without a problem. Our vaginal canals shift to accommodate what we have. So it's not that, and this is where I think some misperception happens, it's not that, we have an 8-inch gap and you're only hitting 5 inches, so therefore there's this wall that you're missing. That's not the case. We stretch to accommodate. So when we do that, if you're whatever you are, we can typically just kind of take it in. So the thing to understand, though, is that penis size is not the only factor when it comes to sexual pleasure. Incorporating things like deep kissing, genital stimulation, and oral sex can help to supplement for penis size. Again, most women, the majority of women, 70% of women in the world, do not orgasm just off of penile penetration. We mostly orgasm off of clitoral stimulation, because again, that's what it was designed for. And then we can also do G-spot stimulation. So technically, a man that is a little smaller can perhaps maneuver himself in a way that makes it so that he can hit the G spot a little easier. And even if a man is bigger, can do the same thing, but it will require him maneuvering in a way where he's not going full deep penetration. You have to kind of focus your area on the first 2 inches of the vaginal canal. So that tells you that having a super large penis is not the thing that is going to necessarily get her off completely. So there are things that, if you feel that size perhaps is a concern of yours, then there are some things that can be done. So I posted recently where size perception is impacted by a lot of things. So for instance, physical fitness. Let's say you have a little bit of a belly. And there's nothing wrong with that. I got a little bit of a belly myself. So if you have a little bit of a belly and you're looking down at your penis, it's going to look smaller because you don't see as much of it because your tummy is in the way. Doesn't mean that your penis is smaller, just means that the perception of your penis is smaller. It also may be, depending on how big your belly is, to get a good grip on it. So if you can't get to the base and get a good grip, then it might feel smaller than it actually is. So, diet and exercise is always a great thing. So just make sure that you're putting forth the effort to be more physically fit. And then you can eliminate that as a reason why you feel like, perhaps you're not as big as you could be. My recent post also indicated that, as there's a thing like, as you get older, they say you shrink, right? You lose inches in height, but you can also lose up to a half an inch in penis size as you get older. It's something to understand, recognize, but again, there's not anything wrong with you because that happens. Now, if you are interested in some ways to increase your penis size, there are some things that have been discussed, and I'm not recommending any of them, but as a person who is obligated to provide information, we're going to talk about it. So according to Men's Health, and I will preface this by saying that most of these things are perhaps painful or expensive, or they might just not work. So keep that in mind if you are trying to think of ways to increase the size of your penis. So based on an article that I found from Dr. James Ellis, who is a LA doctor, you can insert a silicone implant that increases your penis size from by about 1.5 to 2.5 inches. 1.5 inches in length, 2.5 inches in girth. That procedure will cost you approximately $13,000 to get 1.5 inches more of penis. There is a lot of risk of infection, and the implant could actually break. So keep that in mind. Plastic surgery could add about 1/2 inch for about $9,000. So there's savings. I don't know if they offer a Groupon for penis enlargement, but maybe. But there are still also serious risk of scar tissue, having a painful erection, or even the loss of sensation or function. So, consider these things when you're having these conversations with yourself and with your family about what it is that makes sense just to gain 1/2 inch on your penis. There's a fat transfer. So, in common plastic surgery, you can remove fat from parts of your body and stick it into other parts. So if one part is a little too fatty and another part isn't a little fatty enough, you can do that fat transfer. It requires an injection into your penis, though. It can increase the penis size for about an inch in length and width, but the results aren't permanent. So If it is something that you choose to do, understand that you would probably have to repeat the procedure a few times to maintain the results. And I don't know what the effectiveness of that would be. There's also something called platelet-rich plasma injections. So the platelet-rich plasma injections is apparently a relatively new method where they separate your platelet-rich plasma and inject it into your penis. And what the goal is to stimulate blood flow to make the penis appear larger. It's still not enough research to know for sure if it's something that works, but I wouldn't bank on it. I'm not going to be if I had a penis, I wouldn't be the guinea pig on that one. I would let the research go on a little bit more before venturing down that road. So there's another thing, and I thought this one was not funny, but there's something called jelqing, which is penis stretching. Now, apparently what you're supposed to do, and this is if I had the penis in my hand, like when you're here almost completely hard, you're supposed to take your thumb and your index finger, and you're supposed to, from the base, just milk your penis. You're supposed to milk it. And apparently this technique goes back to the ancient Arab civilizations, and there's no proof that this works, and it can actually cause damage to your penis. So again, probably not something that I would do. You have penis extenders, and this is something that in the world of Amazon, I'm sure you could probably go on and find something, and these are devices that men would wear under their clothes, and it's intended to gradually stretch the penis. And so there are apparently two early devices that are still in the market, one called Andropenis and the other one called Golden Erect. And a 2015 study of Andropenis said it added roughly an inch in length to the penis. But keep in mind that these devices can cause some discomfort and possibly scarring because it requires you to wear them for hours a day. And again, there's no proof that they work. So the last technique is sort of like what we talked about at the beginning about being more physically fit. It's the visualization of your penis and how you see it versus how big it actually is. So I know that people are really big on women shaving and women having, getting Brazilians and making sure we're all good down there. But men can do the same thing. You can, if you have a lot of pubic hair, if you shave it down, and be very careful because it's a razor on your penis, but if you shave it down, you can increase the visibility of your penis, making it look bigger, making it feel bigger. And it's just a visuality thing. So keep all of these things in mind. I am a proponent of, if you are comfortable in your body, that trust in what God gave you. Trust in the fact that you are designed the way God intended. If you don't feel that way, then there are things you can do about it, but just be smart about it. Do your research. Do backgrounds on anybody that you're going to do a potential medical procedure with. Be careful with pills that you could possibly take. All of these things. Just be smart about it. Or figure out a way to work with what you have so that you and your partner are both satisfied. And when you have a sexual experience, it's what you both want. It's how you and your relationship construct works. best. But again, just be smart about having these procedures when you're thinking about perhaps enlarging your penis. All right. I'm Shanae Jones. This is KNKY, which stands for Know the New Kinky You. I'm your resident certified sex coach. Remember, you can follow me across all social media at DOYOU KNKY. And don't forget to visit the website and subscribe to YouTube if you have not already. I will see you again very soon.